I'm Shelton Wilder, and welcome to Wilder Possibilities Podcast, where each episode follows an entrepreneur's journey into the transformative power of that light bulb moment where everything clicks. I call that the click. Those pivotal points that redefine our futures, illuminate paths to success, and even change the world. Now let's get wilder. Hi, friends. Welcome to the Wilder Possibilities Podcast. I have my dear friend and neighbor, Rachel Zaslansky-Shear.
Hi.
And she is the owner of the Grapevine Agency.
That's right.
Yay! Glad you're here.
Thanks for having me.
Tell everybody what the Grapevine Agency is.
So the Grapevine Agency is a staffing agency, and we place people in jobs in homes. So everything from housekeepers and nannies to chefs and estate managers, and then also in offices, all support staff. So executive and personal assistants is really our specialty.
That's your specialty?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
And when did you start this?
A long time ago. So actually this June, so in about a couple months, it'll be 20 years.
Oh my God.
I know.
You better have a party and invite me.
I know. I think we're going to have a blowout.
You gotta have a blowout.
Yeah.
20 years is so major.
It's insane. I can't even believe it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Thank you.
Guys, anybody that keeps a business going for 20 freaking years deserves a damn party.
I don't even believe it when I say it.
Wow. It's amazing. And you have a business partner.
I do. Lori, who's the best. We balance each other so perfect.
That is so cool. Yeah.
She's awesome.
Wow. That's amazing that you've been able to have a marriage with a husband that works.
20 years too.
And then a relationship with
which is like
with a partner.
Another marriage.
No, two for sure. Oh my God. So I'm like very impressed because I'm like, no, Clark's enough. one marriage.
You'll get there. You'll be there. You'll be there.
I'm like, whoa. Okay. So on this podcast, I have entrepreneurs on, which you are. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're a CEO too, right? Yeah. Or do you call yourself the CEO?
We call each other.
Are you co-CEOs?
We're kind of we never had titles. So co-founders, co-partners.
Got it. I love that. Okay. And then
call me a CEO if you want.
Yeah. You're a badass CEO. And so I really like to go all the way back though. So where are you from?
Originally from Chappaqua, New York.
What?
In Westchester.
What's it called?
Chappaqua.
I've never even heard of that. Okay. I've heard of Westchester.
Yeah. In Westchester, outside the city. So born and raised there. And then I went to University of Maryland, College Park.
Yeah. Great lacrosse school. I know all about it because of my lax
Actually, I had friends on the lacrosse team.
Yeah. Cool.
And then after school, decided to just leave New York. I was like sick of the cold. I had no idea what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I decided to follow some friends to LA. And here I am.
That's so fun.
Like 25 years ago.
Okay. But, 25.
Yeah.
But then for like 5 years before you started this, you knew Clark.
I did know
You
Clark.
were friends with
Isn't that crazy?
Clark. Y'all were hitting the streets of Venice. The mean streets of Venice.
Clark and I go way back.
I know.
Yeah, we worked at a production company together. He was the lawyer and I was the assistant, and it was this like kind of dodgy production company. We found each other and we were like held on tight because there was one other guy who was normal, and then everything else was just sort of crazy.
Like a wild time. Yeah, that's what. Oh my God. And then the craziest is like 7 years ago when we're driving up the street and you're on.
That was
that was literally the craziest. And we're like, wait, what? And he's like, wait, Rachel? And now we live on the same street.
We bought houses a few houses down from each other.
Yeah, but
totally randomly.
Yeah, no clue.
That was crazy.
No idea. Yeah. That's when you guys reconnected. Yeah. And then that's when I met you.
Yeah. I met you first. We were looking at our neighbor's house.
The neighbors.
And you were the real estate agent. I was like, can I peek? I just bought the house next door. And you were like, my husband's coming. And then I'm like, Clark?
Yeah.
You walked in.
That was that was
nuts. Meant to be.
Wow. Okay. So you did that Hollywood scene.
Yeah, I worked before I worked with Clark at that production company, I was at CAA. for 3 years.
Oh my God. You got in there.
Yeah, I was working for one of the managing partners.
Oh my God. As an assistant?
As an assistant, yeah.
Oh.
Executive assistant. That's kind of where it all started, where I started making a lot of relationships with all the assistants and agents and clients and all of that. So that was sort of like the seedlings that planted in my brain before I started this company.
And then how did you, then after the production company, how did you decide, okay, here we go and get your partner? Like, how did that all?
Right. So I was working at a small domestic staffing agency. For a year, I think, probably a year and a half. And I loved the idea of like matchmaking in jobs because I was always like a natural connector.
You're a connector, big time. Yeah.
And so I didn't love having a boss. I was always, I always wanted to have my own business. Like my dad's an entrepreneur.
I relate. I'm like, boss. I don't think that would go down well.
Different companies, and so I always wanted to do that too. So I liked the idea of what I was doing, but just not where I was doing it.
Yeah.
And so I had the idea to start my own agency with all my relationships and the contacts from the entertainment industry. So started it with, I think, like one client, randomly started it. And then I got a call like a week in from my now partner of 20 years. And she called me out of the blue and was like, I heard you're starting an agency and I want to be your partner.
Oh, nuh-uh.
And I was like, no, I'm good. I don't need a partner, but thanks. And I almost didn't take the meeting, but she was like, let's just meet for coffee. I want to hear what you're doing. And I was like, all right, fine. I'll take the meeting. And then it turns out she was just like, she was doing recruiting on her own. So she was like bringing a different level of experience. And she used to work at Overbrook Films, Will Smith's company. And before that, she was working for Alec Baldwin. So she came with her own network.
She had a good Rolodex too. Yeah,
exactly. And we just clicked in that coffee and we left as business partners.
Oh my, right there. I had chills.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And
we were both from New York. We were both like,
oh my God.
Yeah, and it just clicked. And it's just so funny, that it's like love at first sight.
Wait, were you friends with her?
No, I didn't even know her.
Wait, how did she
like cold called me because she's a hustler. Like she's awesome. She's like so great at researching and finding people. Oh my God. And makes her a great partner. But yeah, so she just sort of found me and heard about it and cold called me and was like, I want to be your business partner. And it's so her personality. Like,
wow. Okay, but guys, this is an entrepreneur podcast.
Make the call.
I didn't make the call, but also that is not the norm.
No.
I have to tell you.
And I was like, I don't want a partner.
No, I know. Oh
but thank God I have them because I couldn't do this alone. It's just bouncing ideas off each other every day. Great. How should I handle it? Like, I love having a partner in crime, doing it with someone.
You guys, but that is really meant to be because it was like very rare.
We just followed our intuition and she followed hers by calling and reaching out to me, making a call, and I followed mine by, all right, I'll just I'll just do the meeting. And it was just like,
wait, were you with Noah at the time?
No. You were living alone in Beverly Hills by myself, working out of my dining room.
Wow.
Single. Yeah. So I met him maybe 6 months later.
Oh my God. Yeah. They're soulmates too.
And that was another one. Love at first sight.
Oh,
crazy. It was a good year for me.
Yeah. Oh my God. Wait, what year is that?
2005.
2005 was your year.
It was my year.
Shit. I love that.
Long time ago.
Oh my God. That's so great. Yeah. I moved here in 2006. So it was like a lot going. Yeah, that was when things were booming.
That was good.
Ow.
Good time.
Okay, so that's why I asked, like, when did you get the click? But like, I guess your click was being around the Hollywood and all of that, and like meeting all the different people, or what would you say, like that kind of?
I think it was
moment.
Yeah, it was like being around all those people and realizing that there was a need for a resource. Because when I was leaving CAA before I worked at that production company, and met Clark. So that was the good thing that came out of it.
Yeah. Still friends.
Yeah, exactly. But there were no resources. It wasn't like, there was no LinkedIn. It wasn't like online job list. I didn't know where to look for a job. So it was tough, and it was all sort of referrals. And then I just had the idea to come up with an agency, where I could introduce all the candidates that I knew and all those great assistants at CAA that were looking for their next job.
Oh, wow.
And all the talent that I had met there, and the agents and the studio execs and all the, the directors and the actors who needed staff.
Yeah.
And they all love staff. They love hiring people from agencies because that's like the best boot camp for how to be an assistant. And so I just sort of
wait, how so? How so?
Because it's just such a good training ground. Like when I started at CAA, I had no idea. I didn't even know what an agency was. Like, so you just learn on the job, how to roll calls and just all the admin experience that you need to be a good assistant. You learn it there because it's sink or swim. Like if you don't.
They're going to throw a phone at you or something. Yeah.
I may have seen that.
A stapler.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Back in those days.
Back in the day. Legal now, but yes.
Yes, time's
oh my
up.
God. That time's up. But, okay, so then that's how you...
So I had that moment of like, there is a need for an agency. I didn't even know it was it was just like a resource for people to find their match, whether it's an assistant or a boss. And so, so I started doing it, out of my dining room, and it was great. I mean, my first deal was it was like Cruz Wagner, this production company. I'm actually like best friends still with the girl that I placed in that job.
Oh, you told me that.
So randomly. But and then after doing that deal, I bought myself a laptop. Like
you were investing in your business. Yeah.
That was how I got my first laptop, my first deal, and then it just kind of grew from there.
Okay, so where did you come up with the name?
Okay, so it took me, I think, at least 6 months to come up with the name because there were a couple agencies back then, but they were kind of old school, like the Friedman Agency. There were a few of them, and they were all the person's last name. Like it would have been the Zeslansky Agency. Like wasn't. And I wanted to have like a more modern, sort of like new approach to an agency, and so I knew I wanted it to mean referrals.
Yeah.
For some, because it's all a referral based.
Yeah, that's what it is
on both ends.
Yeah.
All of our candidates come to us through referrals and our clients. So it was like it took me so long to come up with the name. And one day I was driving in the car, and I just remember going, Grapevine. I heard it through the grapevine. Like that. That's it.
Like the song.
That was it. Just like the song. It just hit me. And
I was going to say, did the song come on?
No, I don't think the song came on, although that would have been a better story.
No.
But no, it just like hit me. But it took I went through like so many names, and finally it was like when I knew it, I just knew.
You were like, this is it.
That was it. And so it was different, and it was catchy, and it means referral.
Yeah.
And that's what we are. So it was like the perfect name.
Yeah, that is. Okay, so then, and was your partner on board? Was she like, great name? Or was she like...
I had come up with that before she made that phone call to me. So I had
so you were kind of like doing a few...
Yeah, I had like, it was a few months of putting everything in the works, and then she reached out to me.
So you had the name kind of happening, and then
I was getting it all together, and then she had heard about it, and then we met, and then that was it. It was like off to the races. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Okay, so who are your main placements? Is it more like staffing for homes, or?
So we have two different divisions.
Okay.
We have the domestic side, which is everything, housekeepers, nannies, chefs, in-home personal assistants, baby nurses, drivers, house managers, and estate managers.
Oh, drivers.
Kind of,
oof.
Yeah, I know.
I really love that one day.
I know. You've reached out to me for that before. Yeah. You're like, I think I need a driver. And then on the corporate side, we do mostly assistant executive assistants, and personal assistants. So we do a lot of people in the entertainment industry.
What's the difference of an executive assistant?
So the executive assistant
I guess
is
I
dealing
know.
with like the corporate, the business end of things.
Yeah.
And the personal assistant is
dry
dealing with,
your
or the
reservations
errands and the personal end of things. A lot of the jobs are hybrid now. Yeah. And we do a lot of jobs for people in the entertainment industry. So people who go on set, assistants who go on set with actors and
and have to travel with them.
Travel with them.
Yeah,
and so
that's a big thing.
They call them more personal assistants. They go on set and they travel and do all of that. And then usually the executive assistant will sort of stay behind and hold down the fort and hold down the office. And handle like the business
like if they get a contract in or things like
Yeah, just like everything to do with that. But most of them, there's a lot of overlap,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is it more like the actors that you're working with or the executives?
Both.
Okay.
The actors, the directors, the producers.
Oh, yeah.
The writers. And then the studio execs, agents.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I'd say like 80% of our business is entertainment, but then we also do outside of entertainment as well.
Yeah. How's it been with the entertainment?
It's definitely, we've gone through so many twists and turns. We had like in 2008 when.
I know, exactly.
We almost had to give up our office.
Yeah.
Because it was a dry spell.
Yeah, bankrupt. Yeah.
It was a tough time.
Yeah.
And then COVID obviously was like a crazy time. Everyone got rid of their staff. And then.
And they were probably, and then like, oh no, what have we done?
Then they were like a few months later, we all need staff again. So it was actually wound up being a busy time for us. Because we were replacing all of these jobs and all of these great candidates were available again. So that was always, we're only as good as our candidate pool. Mm-hmm. So we had a great stable of, really good experienced people. And then the writer's strike and the whole actors, like everything that just went on with that was hard in entertainment.
Yeah.
And when that was going on, our domestic side was busy. So we were lucky, so we're lucky that we have both sides. They're busy and they're slow at different times.
Okay.
So
that's better that you have both divisions.
Exactly. But it was definitely slow. And it's still slow because I don't think things now with AI and all these changes, people aren't hiring as much in the entertainment industry. But people don't like to let go of their assistants.
No.
That's like the last thing that'll go.
Oh, really? They're just like, oh gosh, no.
Yeah. Most of these people have never lived without an assistant. So that's kind of the last to go.
Everybody I've had on the podcast, we're all talking about, praying for LA. I love LA. I'm just like, oh my God.
So many of our clients lost their homes. But then on top of that, so many staff members in their home lost their jobs. So that's been a whole, thing. So we're always sort of trying to just hold on, and pivot as we have to.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That's been hard.
Are you placing other people in different areas then? Is that?
We also staff in New York and Atlanta and Miami. We just hired someone in DC.
Oh, wow.
So we've staffed in the Bahamas. We staff not just in LA, but it is our core market. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's so hard. But have some of the staff gone to their different rentals, I guess?
Yeah.
With the people?
Yep. Again, people are accustomed to a certain standard here and they get into their rental and then they're like, oh, I still need somebody to help me here.
Of course.
So we've luckily been able to place people who have lost their jobs in new homes, in rentals. It just depends on location because people kind of want to work close to where they live.
Yeah.
So there's
a lot of people
repositioning, scrambling around, but
because they went to like the South Bay.
A lot of people went to the South Bay. So we've definitely, a lot of our clients lost homes. A lot of our clients, I'm sure yours too.
So many
on the West Side.
And so many friends.
So many friends. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's going to come back stronger than ever, though.
Yeah. I believe it.
It is for sure.
Strong.
Highly strong forever. But so, okay, what is do you have like a favorite kind of placement to do or?
So I like doing the personal assistants.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's
Like
just
matchmaking those two?
yes, because it's sort of what I come from, like.
Oh, because you were.
My background was, the entertainment assistants. So I knew so many of the personal assistants, and that's sort of what motivated me to start this company.
Okay.
The nanny stuff, and that sort of came a little bit. It was sort of parallel, but the personal assistant and the entertainment executive assistant it's where I come from.
Yeah.
So I know it best. I've been on the other side of it.
Yeah.
And that was what sort of inspired me to start the Grapevine.
Yeah.
So those are my favorite placements.
Okay. And then how does it work with your company? Like someone calls you.
Someone calls.
Yeah. Like
the phone rings. Okay.
Yes, that's very good.
The phone rings.
The phone rings.
And they just say, it's either the client will call me directly or the outgoing assistant who's looking to replace themselves will call me, or a business manager will call, or an agent. It just depends.
Yeah.
Who's like running the hiring process. But so they'll call us and tell us that they have a position they need filled, and we'll talk through everything that they're looking for, and I'll turn it into a job profile for them. And then we put it out to all of our candidates. We've developed this candidate blast, over the last almost 20 years now, where we have a huge database of candidates.
Yeah.
So we blasted out.
Oh, that's how you did it. You have your database.
That's how we started it back in the day. We would do email blasts, and we still do them, but they're a little different now. But back in the day, we would just literally like collect every resume. Every email address, and then a couple times a week we would just blast out all the jobs.
That's how
we do that now, but it's a little more. It's like we do it Monday morning, we do it Thursday morning. It's a little more. It kind of comes from our database. But so then we blast it out to the candidate, like the blast list that's appropriate. So if it's a nanny job, we send it to the nanny blast.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, the corporate blast. And then people start applying. And then it's the matchmaking on our end. And a lot of times when I'm having a conversation with a client, they're explaining, like, I'm always like, who's the prototype? Like, if you could pick the perfect person, who would it be? And they start explaining it to me. And then I get this feeling like, who would be so good for this job?
Oh,
and it's like I get this feeling. Yeah. And I'm like, she's available. I just spoke to, and it like my brain starts going. And usually like that's I usually have a feeling about one person, and it's usually the person that they hire.
Instinct.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But I'll send, like 4 or 5 candidates that meet most, you might not get everything on your list.
Just like buying a house.
Yeah.
You can't get everything on the list.
You can't always get everything. We try. Some people are a little like unrealistic with what they want.
Oh.
Really.
Interesting. Never.
So we do our best, but and then we send the resume over with a bio, like a little write-up. Of each person, and then we'll schedule usually a Zoom meeting.
Oh, you schedule it for them. You like handhold.
Oh yeah,
the whole process. Okay.
So we'll usually recommend doing back-to-back Zooms so they can compare.
Oh. Are you on the Zooms?
No.
You just set it up.
We let them talk, and then they decide who they clicked with, and then we would recommend an in-person meeting in the environment where they'd be working. So if it's in someone's home, go to your home. If it's in the office, go to the office. Because the candidates are interviewing the clients just as much. They want to see where they're going to work, and the company culture, and who they're going to work with. And then we do the reference checks for them. And we do background checks. We have a private investigator that does a background check on all the candidates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. And then so do they pay for the one
Yeah, so they
person?
pay upon hire.
Okay.
And it's a percentage of the yearly salary.
Okay, got it.
And they get a 3-month guarantee, which means if it doesn't work out for those, within the first 3 months, we'll replace the person for free.
Oh, okay. That's what I was wondering. How
But
it goes in the
usually, if
beginning.
it's not going to work out,
you're gonna know in like
real
2 weeks
fast.
or a week.
Absolutely.
Or so. Oh, got
so
it.
the 3-month, it's a pretty big window, but usually they know a lot sooner.
Are there any stories that come to mind that you could
So many.
ever share that would be like the worst?
Like disaster stories.
Obviously no names
How much
here.
time do we have on this
like
podcast?
ding, ding, ding. Yeah, but like a real.
Yeah, I mean, look, a lot of these people don't like to hear the word no. It's just not in their vocabulary.
We had that talk today when Aaron Kerman was on.
Oh, yeah?
And talking about like in the luxury market that because I had the luxury lifestyle management company, and I had my client, one of them, and she just said to me, she said, I just don't really understand the word no. And I was like, well, got it.
Yeah, that's
I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I totally.
Great. Someone will be in London, shooting a film, and their assistant might be in LA, and they want a burger, and it's 2 a.m. It's 2 o'clock in the morning in LA, or they'll just call and be like, I want a burger. Instead of calling room service, they're going to call their assistant. Oh. The assistant has to get the burger sent to the room. Just like things like that. Where
oh my gosh,
people get burnt out of that.
Well, with things changing with millennial, Gen Z, that
they don't want to do that.
They are very much more into.
They have boundaries,
work-life balance. Yes, lots of boundaries,
which is good because we never had boundaries. I mean,
oh my, Gen X, we never heard the word boundary. I was like,
sick day. I would never take a sick
day.
Oh no, I've never
illegal.
No. Go to lunch? What? You eat at your desk.
Yeah.
Go to the bathroom? No, the phone can't go to voicemail. I mean, it was just like we were programmed differently.
Oh my gosh.
And our work ethic was just, very different.
Very
but
different.
Now they're prioritizing their mental health. That's a very big thing, and boundaries, and I respect it. But of course you got to meet in the middle. You can't say no to everything,
Yeah.
Especially if you're an assistant, because your whole job is to put someone else before you and service your boss. And,
yeah. Is that hard for people to understand? I mean, do you have to do major coaching with these people?
We do a lot of coaching. Yeah. Interview prep. We're actually starting a whole new division called Grapevine Prepped, which is prepping all of these kids in high school and college who are about to start, they're at the very beginning of the runway of their career trajectory, and they don't know what to do. There's so much noise out there, right? How do I even get my first job? What do I do? So
oh my God.
We've started not only consulting these people, but we are setting up these courses to prep people on how to enter the job market.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's our new.
That's helpful. Yeah. I mean, I think
it's
people
needed.
have no idea.
They don't know.
And I'm sorry to say, but it's the parents' fault. I mean, it's, they're it's crazy because the kids are never said no to.
Well, that's exactly it.
And so it's the kids are never said no
got
to.
The trophies,
Yeah.
They didn't win the game, but they all got they have to be trained a little bit on, how to get out there and present themselves in the right way and interview. And there's just a proper etiquette to it. So it's sort of a finishing school. For these kids to hit the job market.
I can't imagine, because saying that you're these kids are putting someone else before themselves, and I can't even think of any.
I know.
But being able to.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It's very different now. We've seen it change over the years. Yeah. It's, very different than when we were.
No, exactly. And even myself as a boss, I'm okay, let me. Yeah, I'll text that tomorrow, or I'll wait on that, right? Or I'll.
They're teaching us how to have the boundaries.
Oh gosh, okay,
Yeah, but it was also different when we were coming up because there were cell phones. It wasn't that, but there was no. We didn't have emails on our phones. When I was an assistant, there was no emails on the phone, so you left work and you had your downtime where you can recharge and then do the next day. But now, that we're on these phones and you're getting emails at all hours, there has to be some sort of boundary or everyone will just
Everybody
burn
will
out.
just,
so you have to kind of figure out where that line is, and then you have to create the boundary, respect that boundary, and then hope, the boss, you kind of agree on where that line is.
Has that been hard to retrain some of these bosses? I feel like that would be like
that
very
is hard.
I feel like that would be probably one of the biggest
because
issues
people
that
have a thought and then they just text it, and then the assistant on the receiving end is like, I got a text at midnight, and they might not necessarily expect you to do it then.
I do that.
Yeah, so you're just trying to download it and get it out of your brain so you can check. Right.
Yeah.
And they might take it as, my boss is texting me at midnight.
Oh my
I have to sleep
God.
with my phone, and this is too much, and so there has to be communication.
I heard about. Did you post it? Was it you posting revenge quitting?
Yeah, I did post that.
I want. She has a good Insta. Yeah. It's what at
Grapevine Agency.
Oh,
Grapevine Agency.
At Grapevine Agency.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was this whole post. I read the whole thing. People
It's
just
true.
like legit revenge quitting.
Yes, they do that. Mm-hmm. But then where does that leave them? Because you don't want to burn the bridge with your boss.
No.
Because that's your reference. So, and if you're going to put them on your resume, you got to have the reference to back it up.
Oh, no.
So you have to really think these things through before you just decide to quit off,
I think a lot of people don't think through.
They're not.
They're like, well, they've been taken care of.
Right.
By
But then that's going to be
parents.
a harsh reality when they're trying to get their next job.
Yeah.
And they can't get a reference from their last job.
Well, I just revenge quit.
I just revenge quit, and now I regret it.
Revenge
I
quit.
want to put them on my resume,
I
but
cannot.
I don't have a reference. And that's always an issue because, well, why don't you have it? You were there for a year. Why don't you have a reference? That's, that gets sticky.
Yeah.
And references are like the most important thing because it's the only way someone can do their due diligence and figure out how you're going to be as an assistant by talking to your most, so you just don't revenge quit.
Yeah.
You're burning a bridge. It's not it might feel good for about 1 minute, and then you feel all empowered, and then you're like, what did I just do?
Yeah. Well, that's karma they'll deal with.
I know.
But well, oh my God. So is there any other crazy, like a real nightmare story?
I mean, I sign NDAs.
I know.
My clients, but
no names.
No names. I mean, I've had clients hire I had a big musician meet an assistant and say, can you hop on a plane with me today? And they went to Tokyo, and the girl literally never went back to her house for months and months, and hopped on a tour with someone, just the kind of commitment that you need to give to these jobs where it's you literally give up your own personal life. And
there's no life.
There's no life with a lot of those
Wow.
jobs. Yeah. So in the interview, it was come, and she literally didn't even have a bag, and they're like, oh, don't worry.
We'll get you some clothes.
We'll find you something.
Yeah.
And that's it. Yeah. So that was crazy. I remember her being like, I'm literally leaving right now. I was like, I guess you got the job.
So
congratulations.
You got the job.
Yeah.
So would you say that are people that are young, out of college, or do most people have to go to college, or does it not matter? I mean, what's your thought on that? I mean, Gary V.
Changing.
Yeah, Gary V, that guy.
Changing.
He's just college is a joke. And
It's
I'm like,
totally changing. I mean, it used to be so important. Now I think, and with AI and I think even over the next few years, you're going to need it less and less. But
well, I mean, they'll just write whatever you ask. Yeah.
Exactly. Who even verifies?
Yeah. Pretend I went to Harvard.
Yeah. Put it
and
on
write
the top of my resume. I think it's becoming a little bit less important. Obviously, it depends on what industry you're in.
Yeah.
But there's a ton of people in the entertainment industry that didn't, go to a proper 4-year college. Maybe they went to a 2-year college. It used to be in the job descriptions, they'd say must have graduated from a 4-year college. Now that's a little discriminatory because not everybody can afford to go to college.
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah. And so you have to be mindful of that. You're excluding so many people that could be great for the job just because maybe they couldn't afford college, or maybe they chose not to go to college.
Yeah.
So, I think it's becoming a little bit less important in this industry.
Yeah. In Hollywood.
Obviously, there are so many industries where of course you need masters and
exactly.
and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But,
and then are you still finding people though that are they coming from other cities and other things, or just like I just want to be in the Hollywood, I just want to be here and be a part of it? And
it's funny, like
that's what
less
I'm curious.
and less.
Oh yeah,
because the industry used to be this like big exciting place, and I think over the last few years it's sort of lost its luster. And so and the career trajectory used to be like you work at an agency and then you go work at a production company or a studio, and then you everyone came here, they wanted to be a producer, or they wanted to be an actor. It's like a little different now. People are making their own projects now.
They are.
It's like a little bit, there's no direct path, to those jobs. So yeah, but a lot of people are coming from other states still, just like the LA dream, there's a lot of those. Yeah.
There's still
like you, like me.
Like that. Yeah. So do you ever place people with like influencers? That's like a whole like influencer now, YouTube star.
I know, that's like a whole new
That's like
thing.
a whole new.
Yeah, we place people with like YouTube stars.
Yeah, I mean
influencers.
Those guys make more money.
Replaced
Movie stars. Legit, they make more than
absolutely
mega movie stars. Some of them.
The last few years we've been doing a lot of that actually. YouTubers and during COVID and then after, it was just like a lot of these like TikTok stars.
Yeah, gamers.
I didn't even know who they were half the time.
Oh, no.
And
no clue.
They need these assistants because all of a sudden they're making so much money, and live in these big houses and they don't even know how to run them properly. You know? Yeah.
Oh, I know. Because
You're selling them houses.
But I'll just go see and be like, okay.
Yeah.
We need
so that's
Rachel,
like
we need some staff.
Yeah, exactly. So that's like a new thing in the last, I'd say since COVID.
Wow.
Was when that all started happening.
Oh my God. I mean, it is. It's like pivoting.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of the new world. But that's good. I love that you're doing that course on how to, I think people need, I wanted to even do like an etiquette course for agents, really.
Yeah.
Kind of just.
You got to refine
just like have a little manners, text back.
Yes.
Let's,
and
like we're on the same page. Yeah. We're supposed to be on the same team. We have the same goal here. Yeah. So.
But there's no real education for that stuff. And it's just, I think there's just too much noise out there, and people just get confused and don't know where to look and where to go and how to find a job and how to set themselves up for success and what resume, like what's a good resume and how do I do the cover letter and what's the follow-up like and do it, what I mean? There's just so many questions. So we're currently working on a few things that are going to solve
that. That's going to be big.
Yeah.
I feel like that.
It is.
Just even a course for it.
Courses.
Because you've placed, your personal resume is so impressive with your agency that you can be like, we've placed this many thousands, tens of thousands, whatever.
Yeah.
And that you have that to make your course. Well, it would stand out.
20 years, almost 20 years of our expertise. And so we've seen all the mistakes over the last 20 years.
You've seen the mistakes.
We've learned the ropes, and we're now creating an education so you don't, have to make the same mistakes that we see all the time.
So will you meet someone immediately and be like, oh, they're going to be great?
Yeah.
Or
you can tell pretty quickly.
Or you'll be like, oh, this is a disaster.
Well, if it's based on a resume, you get about 7 to 10 seconds of someone's attention. So that's good to keep in mind. Like when you send your resume out, you want it to be, you get about 10 seconds of someone's time while they're looking through resumes. So you want it to be right and formatted right and highlighted and, the way it needs to be. These creative resumes that are too wordy and too long, no one's reading them.
What about
Same with the cover letters.
What about a photo on it?
Yeah, I like a photo on it.
I know, but can they do, or is that like, because now they've stopped, like in real estate, you can't really have the letters
it was
the
a big
photos.
no, and then it was a yes. Put the picture on. In corporate America, you can't really do that because they can say that's discrimination.
Yes.
Based on what someone looks like, so you can't do that. But so we don't send photos of people. Sometimes clients ask us, and we're like, that's not really, you can meet them and see them for yourself.
Fair housing and hiring. Oh my gosh.
But when somebody, to answer your question from before, like if I could tell pretty quickly when I meet somebody, I could tell. I mean, I've kind of got it down at this point. It's all the way they walk in. Are they organized? Do they have their resume ready to go? Do they have a cover letter?
Or do they look you in the eyes? Probably.
Do they shake your hand? Do they look you in the eye? Are they dressed professionally? Are they chewing gum? Do they have, perfume that takes over the whole room? Like, just there's so many little nuances. There's so many little things. So when someone comes in and it's just like perfect, you're like, this person knows what they're doing, because they're a representation of us. So we don't give our stamp of approval. It's like, we call it the Grapevine stamp of approval. It's like, you either get it or you don't. And so in order for us to give, our approval, because that's how you're going to go into an interview with one of our clients.
But will you straight up say like, hey, you seem so great. Please no perfume. Don't wear those shoes.
We prep everyone.
Like, you gotta, please comb your hair.
Someone might just not know, pull your hair back. Don't wear
crazy
lipstick. Dress.
Yeah, no chest.
No chest. Dress conservatively, dress like you have the job, so you want to mirror what that job is gonna, you want to dress like you work at that company. So figure out the company culture, do a little bit of research. What do they wear?
Yeah.
Do they wear suits? Do they, you want to kind of blend in. But yes, I prep everyone before interviews.
Do they ever get offended?
Yeah, definitely. I've definitely had people offended. Yeah,
but you're just trying to be helpful.
I'm trying to help them, but look, if they don't want to be helped, they'll have to figure it out on their own. I'm just trying to set them up for success.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Because if they don't look good, then I don't look good.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I definitely prep people before the interviews and even before they start the job. Like, if you're working in a home that has like hardwood floors, like, don't wear high heels and you're clicking around all day. It's going to drive your boss crazy. Like, wear flats. Like, just all kinds of little tips and tricks to be successful, because people get annoyed about, so many things.
And then will they call you and be like, I'm so annoyed? Oh yeah. Oh God.
Recently I had that happen. Like, she's clocking around, like, I hear her walking down the hall so loud, and I'm like, oh gosh. So I had to reach out to her and be like,
could you get some great,
flats? Just flats, like rubber bottom flats.
Adidas Sambas are great.
They don't want to hear you walking around.
Oh, yeah.
But she didn't know. She thought, she was dressing professionally.
Doing what's so nice.
In an office, like, that would be fine.
Yeah.
But in someone's home, there's so sort of a different set of rules.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
It was very helpful. Very helpful. Yeah. I mean, so is there any kind of like major pro tip you would say to anybody that's like looking to get into the market? I feel like maybe, this is for entrepreneurs, but this could be like a good clip of like, what do you think if someone is graduating that wants to get into the marketplace, into
entertainment industry?
Yeah.
So I think you got to like back it up. If they choose to go to college, while you're in college, you already have to start thinking about laying the groundwork. And I think that starts with internships.
Yes.
Very important.
But I did internships all the time.
Oh, you did? I didn't. I worked at an ice cream shop and a bagel place. I didn't even know.
I interned at ICM.
No one prepped me. I had no clue. Oh, you did?
ICM. Like I was
So you knew that.
Yeah.
So, a lot of, some people know it, and someone like me, like I had no idea. I had no one guiding me. I didn't, there was no internet. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. But yeah, I think backing it up to college and planting the groundwork and getting internships during the summer is a great starting point. And then you get to use, hopefully you develop a relationship with the person that you're working with. And then they can be
do a good job. Yeah, do a good job.
Work hard, be on time, come from a place of yes, not no.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Yeah.
And then once you graduate college, you're ahead of the game. So you have your internships and you have your relationships that translate into references. And so you're now competing with people maybe who did work at an ice cream shop, and you've got the edge, so you come prepared. You're hitting the market with some impressive things on your resume. Even if you don't get an internship, whatever it is, be resourceful, walk your neighbor's dog. It still teaches you skills that are transferable into your first job, time management and, communication and dealing with like whatever it is, whatever job you can find even within your community. If you're not going to college, network within your community.
Yeah.
Volunteer, enter clubs, make relationships with people who can mentor you and then ultimately be references for you.
Yeah.
It's like you got to come in with something. You know what I mean? So some sort of resume, some sort of references really helps.
Kind of know how to work a little bit.
It helps. It gives you a little work ethic. Even if you can learn from any job and you can learn what you don't like. And a lot of people learn what they don't like before they learn what they do like. And that's valuable too. So there's value in everything that you do job-wise leading up to like that real first job search.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's very, very helpful. And then do you take inbound calls for people that want to be on your reference list for like nannies and assistants and all that stuff? And
do we do the reference checks?
No, do you, if somebody wanted to be on your list of like a great nanny or a great
our candidate
your
list?
candidate list. And so
so we interview them. So everyone, they
have to call you to get interviewed so that you get on the list.
They email us.
Okay. That's then email you.
Yeah, anyone could get on the list, the blast list that we send out all of our jobs, and then they can also find our job list on our Instagram and on our website. But in order to be considered to be sent out to one of our clients, we have to vet them first. And in order to vet them, we'll do like a 30 to 45 minute one-on-one interview.
Oh, so you're busy. I mean, you have to talk to like a lot of different
and then we have
people all the time.
For sure. And then if they sort of pass, then we have them send their references, and we have a reference checker who does she's amazing. She does all of our reference checking.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
On the domestic and the corporate side. And then once the references are checked and they're good, then we know that they're viable to be sent out.
A real person. Yeah. Okay.
And exactly. So then we can send them out to our candidates fully vetted. And then the last thing is we do the background checks while they're in the interview process. If it looks like it's going in the direction of a hire, we'll put in the background check, and it takes a couple days to come back. And then if there's a hit, which there have been before, the hire is always contingent on the background check coming back clear.
Oh,
but if there's something, like a DUI or something like that, and the job doesn't require driving, we leave it up to the client to decide if they want to renege the offer or continue.
Okay, got it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because it happens.
You're like, because it happens. Well, I had a driver. That's why it didn't happen.
You had a driver. And now people have Uber, so hopefully I know. That's not happening.
And there's Waymo or whatever. So, okay, last thing is, do you feel like you have any more clicks to go, or you love what you're doing, and do you want
I love what we're doing.
Yeah.
But we're about to do a lot more. There's some things in the works that that are really exciting, that we're starting, this whole Grapevine prep thing, which I told you about. And then just like a few other things that we're, because our brand is so strong now. It's been 20 years.
Yes.
So we are doing a pivot. We're always going to do what we do, the matchmaking, the job placements. That's always going to be here. But we are adding on a few other things. Like we're doing consulting now, which we weren't doing years ago. Like now it's, we're doing this like job prep consulting, and we're going to do these courses. And then there's a few other things that we're doing too that will help, all aimed to help people in that sort of like job wellness full, community of ours, to set them up for success.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So,
well, that sounds exciting.
Yeah.
Like you're
very excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're energized to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because the job matchmaking part is fun, and I've been doing it for so long.
It's fun to get little new energy.
Exactly. We're now hiring people in different markets. As I said,
that's exciting too.
We've just hired 3 people in the last few weeks to cover different regions and cover different markets. So we're growing in that way, where we have some more, sort of like agents working under us.
Boots on the ground, kind of around.
That have their own networks and in different, in markets and different areas, but also, so we're expanding there, but also coming up with some more ways to get you guys prepped and,
I feel like that's a big thing.
It's a big one.
And I feel like then the parents too will be like, let me pay for this. Cause I have
great graduation gifts,
Yeah.
Speaking in colleges and getting the kids in school. Cause you have to really walk it back to starting at school, instead of just graduation. Then, you can't, it's too late. If you start thinking about job search as you're graduating, that's what I did. And it worked out, but it was a very different time. Now it's just a lot.
The job market's hard.
It's very hard, and you want to be able to stand out. And so we're going to create some things that'll give these kids the tools to hit the job market the right way, so they stand out from all the other
ones. Yeah, because I just wanted to work, so I got a job.
We were hustling.
I was like,
me too.
Yeah, I gotta have my own money.
I was the manager at Ben and Jerry's because I needed gas money to go to parties.
Yeah,
I was like,
Benetton, selling.
I still have my Benetton.
Yeah. So I was like, oh God, I have to.
I know,
my own
you're independent.
things.
Well, that's what we say to kids in high school. At a certain point, you're going to want your independence, and the money motivator is key, and that's when the job search really begins. So it starts as early as high school.
Yeah, I learned
so much. You want to be independent.
Yeah. So, I think that's a pro tip. Just get a job in high school.
In high school.
You can.
Build that resume. Yeah.
Yeah. Some people are like, no.
I worked as soon as I could work. I was folding sweaters at this place called Cape Isle Knitters, for 3 hours after school every day with this plastic thing, just wanting my gas money so I can go to parties.
We could go.
And then when I was at Ben and Jerry's, I would show up to the parties with a dozen pints of ice cream.
You were the most popular person. Everyone's like, make sure Rachel's coming.
Literally. That was my claim to fame.
Oh my God. I love that now. I'll never forget that now. I love
rolling in with my Ben and Jerry's.
Well, okay. I love you.
I love you too.
Everybody can find you.
Yes.
On
Grapevine Agency is our Instagram. And the Grapevine, it's at Grapevine Agency, is the Instagram. And then our website is thegrapevineagency.com.
Yeah. All right. Well, love you.
Love you too.
I know. We'll see ya. Bye.
See you on the street.
I'm Shelton Wilder, and welcome to Wilder Possibilities Podcast, where each episode follows an entrepreneur's journey into the transformative power of that light bulb moment where everything clicks. I call that the click. Those pivotal points that redefine our futures, illuminate paths to success, and even change the world. Now let's get wilder.